Welcome back, everybody. Carrie Campbell. So good to see you.
So good to see you. It's been so long.
It has. It feels like it hasn't been that long. And then I was just researching because I knew you were coming back in here, and it was since June last year. So it's been a minute. So it's
It,
so
it
great to
has been
see
a
you.
minute.
Really appreciate you coming back.
I'm so excited to be here. I'm so thrilled to be here. I can't wait to see what we're going to talk about.
No doubt. Yeah. So, I mean, we've talked numerous times before, and the last time we spoke was kind of a big shift of what you were doing with everything with Her-dentity, and now it's as you just talked about, there's this hockey stick that's going on in progress from here. And
Yeah.
I want to start with this because you just brought it up right before we got in. You said it really, you can summarize this in two things that are coming on, which is clarity of vision and consistency. So, what I want you to kind of riff on a little bit is that clarity of vision. We kind of know what that means, but often to really understand like the full meaning behind that can sometimes get a little bit of foggy. So,
Totally.
when you
Totally.
say like you're so clear on your vision right now, what does that mean to you?
Yeah, I mean, it's actually really, so I want to say it's twofold, but it's not really twofold. It's actually quite singular. When I say, and I mean, we could talk about this for a full hour, to be honest with you. When I say I'm clear on my vision, it really comes back to my personal life goals first. I talk a great deal about life goals as well as core values for your life, not for your business, and so on and so forth. And I have a tattoo on my leg that says, have a goal so big that you will surely fail unless God or divine forces intervene. And when I got that quote in 2017 or 18, I remember Brian asked me, my husband, for those of you who are listening, he asked me, what are those goals? And it's funny because I never actually asked myself what those goals were because I felt that quote the second I read it, but I was able to like hit them off right away. And my goals are very simple. I mean, I've shifted them a little bit in terms of the definition of the word. So what they were back then was happiness, impact, and mastery. And I've now shifted them into happiness, enlightenment, and reach. And there's a lot of reasons for that shift. There in context, it's still the same thing, right? So for me, really, my clarity of vision, it starts at that overarching compass for my life. I wake up every single morning and my vision is clear. And I always say, like, I'm going to die the most enlightened motherfucker on the planet. I'm going to be happier than anybody's ever been. And I'm going to reach as many people doing it as I possibly can. And that is my internal drive, my internal clarity, right? So many people don't actually have this for themselves. This, like, we all have like goals, but like, what is your compass? What is your due north? People ask me all the time, like, when you're in the shit and when things are hard and when you don't want to anymore, what drives you forward? And so the internalized sense of these goals for me, this core value for myself, that is my forever drive. That's what gets me out of the bed when I don't want to get out of bed. But if I were to take that and like kind of delineate it down to my clarity of vision right now, more particularly inside of, my career and my impact and my business that I'm building, I have this, and you'll see where it pulls from in terms of like the impact and the reach standpoint. My vision in short is that, I'm going to become the female Tony Robbins and rival all male thought leaders and be the new voice of female empowerment. Like, that is my vision. That is where I'm going. And so I know what that means from a context of like how I'm impacting, how I'm reaching, how I'm serving, how I'm showing up every day. And so I have this incredibly like myopic vision of that. And if it's not in that pathway, it's not a part of my world. I mean, I'm obviously family and all that stuff, but like when people come to me like, oh, you want to do this project with me, or you want to do this project with me, I know so quickly if it's a yes or a no based on that vision.
Mm.
Now, the thing that I want to add to this is it's so important. I could not have arrived here before now, right? Like, I mean, I've always known that I want to impact as many people as I can while I'm here on earth. I've always known that. But to be able to stand in my authority and my expertise and claim that I want to be the female Tony Robbins, which I declare publicly all the time. Like, if Tony was here, I'd say it to his face, right? I declare that so strongly and with such conviction because I've got 25 years of experience behind me. I have 25 years of impacting people, of impacting in different ways, of trying some things, not doing other things, loving some things, hating some things, to bring me to the point that I have this absolute clarity that for the rest of my life, this is what I'm going to pursue. There's nothing else for me. No, I mean, I'll do other things within it, but the vision to become the female Tony Robbins and impact millions of women around the world with my mantra, no woman getting left behind. That for me, it's almost as if you're going to love this because it's such a deep thought. You're going to absolutely love this. I woke up a couple of weeks ago, I was journaling and realized I have essentially reached my end point, and everything between here and the rest of my life is just the fun stuff.
It's
The
bonus stuff.
end point being, I know exactly what I want. Now I just get to wake up and pursue it every single day. And
Hmm.
so that is how vision like impacts me and how I think about it.
Okay. So a couple things is this is probably more of like a personal thought that I have because I've known you for a while now, and if you've always had an energy about the work that you do. But the way that you're speaking now and the energy that you have around this seems like it's even different from what you've done before. And you've been doing this for a couple decades here, but it does seem like there's a different shift that I can feel. It's very palpable in here. Does this feel different now versus the work that you've done previously?
Totally. Yeah, it really does. And it's not so much that the work feels different, it's that I feel different.
Mm,
There's several reasons for that. I'm so glad you picked up on that because I this is actually, I mean, it's been like this for several months now, but there is actually, and obviously the timeline of this, no one's going to know. I'm currently in Miami. I've been in Miami for about a week recording a TV show. And I was just talking to my team the other day and I was saying something shifted in me this week. Something shifted and I couldn't even figure out what it was. And so I kind of played with that a little bit. And really, what it comes down to for me is, it's been probably a good 4 or 5 years that I'll happily and humbly declare myself an expert in the mindset industry. And I mean this completely humbly when I say this. I think you're hard pressed to find a better mindset expert out there. I just mean that. And not because I've learned from thousands of books, but because I've practiced for thousands upon hundreds of thousands of hours from a personal standpoint and in my coaching. So I've declared this expert status. I know where I stand in that. But something happened this week. I was, down here in Miami filming the TV show Legacy Makers, which we can talk about if you want in a little bit as well. Filming Legacy Makers, showing up in my brand, like I'm wearing pink. If anybody's watching this, I'm wearing hot pink today, and these are my brand colors. I've been everywhere on brand today because we're choosing to hallmark my brand with a color. So I've been on brand all week, which means people have been asking me questions all week. And I walked into so many different environments. And it actually kind of taps back to clarity because we just really recently launched out the Carrie Campbell experience. So now I have my complete foundation that is completely clear and concise and directed as well. So every environment that I showed up into this week, the best way for me to describe it is I showed up as an absolute authority.
mm,
And I didn't know that there was a difference between expert and authority until I was able to put language to it. I have done what I've been doing an incredibly long time. I am a master at my own process. I strive every single day to become the greatest version of myself on all aspects. And I always say this to people, as an elite human performance coach, because a lot of my clients mock me sometimes, like, how much more cardio do you have to do? Or how many more, do you ever take a break? Right. And I'm always like, look, if you're going to claim to be an elite human performance specialist or coach, you better damn well be an elite human.
mhm.
And with some of the stuff that I've mastered in my own life in the last year with 5 years with personal challenges, as well as the mastery of my process and all that stuff, I humbly can wear the badge as an authority. And so there's that. But then on the other side of it is that there is such I have such a passion in my soul for helping people. Like, it lights my soul on fire. It really does. I mean, I'm in the process right now of locking down my launch party in Arizona. We're looking at having, I won't say the name here just in case it doesn't work out, an iconic musician playing at this event. And I have gotten confirmation on the likelihood of that being a yes, we're going ahead with it. Right. That would be like world changing for everybody. That night I was driving home from my volunteer work, and one of the kids that I'm working with had a major breakthrough. That's all I cared about. That's all I cared about, right? Like, so for me, it's like I will shout it from the rooftops with the big energy. Like, this is who I am. This is what I'm doing. Every woman needs to be a part of this. And it's because it's not about me. It's not about me. So the energy that I think people are feeling is just, you're seeing a woman who is like completely and wholly stepped in to what she wants, where she's going, and is about, like, as we say at the Carrie Campbell experience, reclaimed, redefined, and I've risen from some really dark challenges, some really dark times.
Yeah. The shift in the words that you used, I want to ask you about because I think having these and like being able to refine down the pillars of what we're aiming for as that North Star, I think is such a powerful reframe
Totally.
and way to go. And you brought it from impact and mastery, which are both really powerful, to enlightenment and reach.
Yeah,
What was the process like of shifting with that? Was there a specific moment of that, or did
there was.
how
Yeah.
was that process about shifting those over, and what did that mean to you?
You're gonna love this because I know you geek off of this stuff the way I do. So I was working through my own journaling process. I journal every day. And one of the things that I have, created and been putting out to the world, and we talked a little bit about this back in June, is the Her-dentity code. And so Her-dentity is a word that I created. And it's really all about women understanding the power of their identities. And I refer to it as avatars, right? So the avatars and the identities that don't serve you, and stepping into the identities that do. Who do you need to become in order to achieve what you want, right? So I am particularly I guess practiced at shifting in and out of identities. And one of the things that I've learned over the years is that our identity shifts and needs to shift as we shift and evolve. And so I was actually working on some of my own identity work and realized that I needed to and wanted to shift my identity to match where I'm sitting right now in this
Hmm.
experience, right? So, who is this person, right? And as I was writing her out, and as I was going through this her identity shift, which is what I refer to it as I was going through that, all I kept coming up with was like this energy, this power, this, it was a feeling more than it was tangible things.
Hmm.
And so I realized I wanted to actually match my identity to almost like this omnipresent energy as opposed to a persona. So in the process of doing that, I actually did not give my identity a name, which I usually do, a gentle Viking or whatever the case may be. Instead of giving her a name, I actually just refer to her as her. So her is my new identity. And she represents, like I said, this omnipresent, all powerful, energy and light. And when I wrote the words her, it just dawned on me that it was time for me to change my core values and
Okay.
shift those core values. So, now it's like her is my identity, but her is also my core values. And if you think about that from an ascension standpoint, that's exactly how it should be. And one of the other things that I realized was that from a mastery standpoint, and mastery for me doesn't imply perfection, but from a mastery standpoint, like I am a master of my process.
Hmm.
And I had so many people comment to me on that. Like, I've never seen anybody master their own process as well as you have. And I knew that I needed to reach for more. And that reach was more than mastery. It was more than a skill. It was time to reach into enlightenment. I don't think enlightenment is possible on this planet in this human life form, because I always think that there's more available to us. But I really transcended through stages last year that my core values and my identity just like they just aligned.
Hmm.
And so I found a new acronym, basically.
I love that. I mean, the word mastery is so present in my own life, and I've thought about it so much, and I've thought about that difference of what does it mean. And what's so
Right.
funny is the definition of that has changed and evolved so much as I've
Totally.
kept doing it. And as you talked about there with enlightened, it's kind of like the Japanese term Kaizen, right? The Kaizen path of always that 1% better. You never actually arrive of where you're
100%.
going. So it's always changing. And I wonder if you see this a lot is, often we think like we have an identity. You identify your bound nature or your free nature and you give it a name. And that's a really powerful thing to do. But then once you're there and it's a good feeling, you think, oh, good, I've got it. I've arrived from there. But then eventually you get down the line and you think, things have changed, things have evolved, and you're not maybe that
Totally.
same person
Totally.
anymore. And that's when we get stuck at that point. So is
Yeah,
that something that you've seen in this journey of now working with women of
for
that
sure.
that process of like getting stuck and not evolving with the
A
times?
100%. Yeah. I mean, 100%. I mean, I think that the first thing I want to say is that I don't think women do nearly enough work on identity to begin with.
Mm.
I think probably 2% of the population does identity work. So I think that it's not even something that women probably even ask themselves very often. Like, who am I and who do I need to be? And so I definitely see it. One of the things that, like, at my live event, Her-dentity Live, this is where I walk women through the Her-dentity code. Like, we do this full 1 day immersion process where we go through the 4 steps of the identity code. And one of the things that I am so big on stressing is who you are going to become right now is to match where you are right now for this vision. Your vision's going to change. That means you're going to need to change. And for me, I love the power of presenting it. Like, you need to know when you need to turn on and turn off an identity,
Mhm.
right? Like, a great example, like I have my her avatar, right? But I'm also a professional athlete and I'm competing in 4 weeks, right? So I'm competing in 4 weeks, and a lot of my energy has been in the her energy in the last, I guess, like 3 or 4 months, as I'm like building out this business, building out this impact. And as a matter of fact, the only reason I chose to compete this particular April was because I wanted to feel in my power, in my energy for the TV show I just recorded, right? So
Mhm.
I actually aligned that fitness goal. But one of the things that I realized is that as I was kind of coming towards the end of this TV show, rather than feeling the ramp up of let's go get this new title, what I was actually feeling was I'm so excited for this to be over. And so rather than sitting in the energy of her, which she's always there, but I actually shifted my focus to step into my professional athlete identity, which her name is Alita. And so she's an elite performer, right? So that implies that, where I might be a little bit of flexible in the day-to-day leading up to this TV show in certain areas, I've got 4 weeks left now. I got to turn Alita on, and I've got to
Mhm.
drive my actions from her and align to her in order to get the job done, right? So it's almost like you have this closet full of identities and avatars, and you get to wake up on a given day and decide, what avatar am I going to be? Like, who do I need to be today? Sometimes one of my other free nature avatars is the gentle Viking. She's more of like a warrior, and she's got to get shit done, right? And there are days when I got to like warrior up. There are days when the gentle Viking, I literally will consciously have this conversation with myself that I need to step into the gentle Viking today. I need to become her today because I have a job to do. And it's not going to come from the spiritual, like, flowy, ebby, everything happens for a reason. No, I got to put some grit into it. Right. So I think women struggle with this hugely, which is why that is why I've created the Her-dentity code and
Mhm.
all of the Her-dentity events, because I want women to learn the step-by-step process and being able to do it for themselves.
Yeah. I love that of having that the we all have so many different identities that we do, and oftentimes we think of it as like one, oh, I'm a business owner, I'm a dentist, or I'm an athlete, or so. Not realize you have all these different ones that are all juggling in all different ways. And
Right.
I never like the term balance, Carrie, because I think balance is bullshit. I,
We're
I
never
always
balanced.
I always
Yeah,
like I always liked harmony more as like kind of like juggling, like one ball's up in the air while another one's
totally.
down, and you keep them all going there. Is there specific processes or strategies that you use of knowing which identity that I need to shift into at different times? Is it more of a
Yeah.
feeling or is it a specific process that you go through to keep yourself in that harmony?
Yeah, I mean, it's definitely a top-down process, right? And it's actually, so when I my process that I run for myself and the process that I run for all the women who are inside my Her-dentity community, it's a top-down effect. So the first one being vision. What's your vision, right? So every year we customize and we create vision stories. Where am I going this year? What am I accomplishing this year? Who do I need to become this year? Et cetera, right? And then we take that vision story, bring it down into a 90-day plan. So in order for me to get here by the end of the year, in the next 90 days, what matters most? From that 90-day plan, we create the mindset process and the action process. So the mindset process being my inspiration statements, right? Now, at that point is when I would ask myself, who do I need to be to get this job done? Right?
Mhm.
Who do I need to be in the next 3 months? to get that job done. And then I would go into the process of cultivating that avatar and going through the process of building an avatar out, right? So what does that look like? That's like essentially, who do I need to be? Who do I need to become? What do I need to do in order to accomplish this goal? And so, and for me, like, because I'm so involved in my own process, what ends up happening is if I find myself hitting roadblocks, right, and almost like frustration, or I'm not getting this done, I'm not getting this momentum, it's almost like I default to asking myself, like, what needs to shift? Is this a mindset problem? Is this an action problem? And if it's a mindset problem, that's where it's like almost like I have this arsenal of like tools, right? It's why I created my mindset toolbox, right? I have this unstoppable woman mindset toolbox, 7 tools that you can basically pull on in order to practice moving forward. So it's like, okay, do I need to look at, what do I need to look at? You know, my identity, my, you know, my inspiration statements, my 4 pillars, my journaling. And then through there, I know how to shift and how to create moving forward. So that's my process. It's the process I teach women. I actually think it's one of the greatest deficits that we have in the personal development space, is that there's a lot of stuff out there, but very few things actually follow like a systematic linear process that makes sense. And for me as a coach, I really strive to take these chaotic concepts that are overwhelming and bring them down into like almost like we can check box it, right? So that's the process that I go through.
I love it. You use the word vision there, and I want to ask more about the word vision, because I think vision and goal get very much lumped together in two ways, and I think there might be some commonalities to it, but in my experience, it seems like they're both very different. It's very easy to go into goals versus what vision. In your mind, what is the difference between having a
Yeah.
vision and having a goal?
I love that question. This is like one of my soapboxes. That's why I love that question. I mean, it's a huge difference, right? So for me, the best way for me to describe it is the vision is your fuck yes. The vision is the thing that gets your soul pumping, your heart going. It's your motivation to get out of bed. The vision is the hell yes. And a vision is built out with emotion and visuals and imagination. Because the way I always say it is like, nobody really gets excited to get out of bed and pursue the mundane step-by-step goals. As a professional bodybuilder, everybody who knows me knows there is no morning I wake up and I'm like, yay, I get to do cardio today, right?
Right.
It's like, that's a big hell no. But the vision, and this is the interesting part for me, because the vision's not actually to go and win another title. For me, my vision with my bodybuilding career is really comes down more to be doing something absolutely extraordinary as an athlete and being, from a lack of better words, a physical specimen at the age of 65, right? Like that's it, you know, that's what it comes off from for me, right? And so your vision is this detailed, like descriptive, powerful, emotive space that you're working towards. Your goals, as far as I'm concerned, are the tangible metrics that help you get there. I need to walk 10,000 steps today. I need to drink 4 liters of water today. I need to, you know, lose 20 pounds in 6 months. I need to make 10,000, like what, those are the metrics,
Mhm.
right? And the only people who I think actually probably get really excited about the metrics are the people who are investor mindseted, right?
Exactly.
Like
Yeah.
I get excited about the metrics too. Like, I mean, I love checking boxes and stuff like that, but you know, when the going gets tough, the 6-pack abs or getting out of debt, it's really not the thing you're playing for. You're playing for the feeling.
Mhm.
As human beings, we're driven by feeling. So we're playing for the feeling, which means we need to build out that vision of feeling. Everybody wonders why they don't actually achieve the goals that they set. Well, because the goals half the time aren't even the goals that they know if they even want.
Exactly.
Like,
Yeah.
I mean, why do you want that? You know, your vision should move you to tears. Your vision should inspire you. Your vision should be your driving force. And that's what gets you out of bed in the morning. I got asked this question last year 1,000 times, you know, for anybody who knows me personally, who's listening to this podcast, because obviously we have a lot of people in contact together. Anybody in my Her-dentity community, they know last year was the worst, best year of my life. Like worst, best year of my life. It started off the worst, it ended the best. And as we were talking about just prior to this call, you know, for me, in the worst year of my life, somehow I got better in every single way conceivable. And that comes back to one thing and one thing only: my vision to achieve happiness, enlightenment, and reach. That's it. It's a feeling. That's what drove me forward. That's my motivation on the days that I didn't want to get out of bed. That's what kept me going. And not enough people internalize that.
Mhm. No, it's always a quote that comes back to me in conversations like this, which is the purpose of a goal is not to achieve a goal, it's what you become to get it.
100%. 100%. And people, you know, it's one of the things that I've enjoyed so much in this journey that I'm on right now. You know, for anybody, you know, just to give you the backstory, about almost just over a year ago, I decided to really take my brand and explode it and build out my own personal brand, you know, as a female leader. And so in the decision to do that, you know, I hired an entire business development team. Like I have a whole team behind me. I've probably outsourced 95% of the company to another team. I don't do anything except for what I'm supposed to do. And one of the things that has been like so notable, and my team, my CMO is always saying it to me. She's like, I love that you understood that in order to get where we want to go, there's a lot of like little tiny steps along the way, and that you just let us do it. And you know, and for me, like what's one of the things, like you said, like who you become along the way. I am cherishing every single moment along the way. Like I'm building an empire. And one day that empire is going to be built. I never want to forget the days and the nights and the exhaustion and the excitement. And I never want to forget. I'm never going to be able to get that back.
Mhm.
Right. So who I'm becoming along the way to get there, that's the ride, right? That is the ride.
Yeah. Yeah, I think a concept I've been fascinated by is whether you're aiming to build an empire like you are, or even just get out of the rut and just get into the first steps. It's very easy to think that it's this me against the world, like I'm going to do everything on my own mentality. And from the
Yeah.
time I've known you, I mean, you're so self-driven in the work that you do. But as you just said, you've outsourced a lot of this work into
Yeah.
like other people to have a team around you. How powerful has it been to have good people and good supporting people around you in this venture?
I mean, everything. I can't even begin to speak enough about how absolutely everything that has been. For me, having my team, first of all, the only reason I was able to find a team that was so, um, I guess, in alignment with me was knowing how clear I was and what I wanted, right? So that helped me find my team. And then like when I look at it, like I mean, it's a team of all women. And you know, for me, like, so it's going to be an entire brand built for women by women. We've been together now for 7, 8 months. And in 7 and 8 months, we've had not one glitch, but
Mhm.
personally, not one hiccup, because we established core values from the start, because we all respect and honor each other, because we all have solid mindsets and we get the fuck out of each other's way. Like I do not micromanage. I would not be here today if it wasn't for them. Not a chance. Not a chance would I be here. So for me, having that team, gosh, having that team is everything. Absolutely everything. And I make sure to honor them for it like all the time. Like they have no idea how much they mean to me from that standpoint.
Mhm.
So it's like absolutely like, I mean, they're everything. This is the best,
Yeah.
easiest way for me to say it.
Is that a challenge at all for you to kind of like let that because you're so self-driven and you're so strong with everything that you do? Is that a challenge at all for you? Is that an
Not at
easy
all.
transition?
You know, that for me is really easy. It's actually funny because my team is always laughing at me saying that like that I'm their new like their standard for clientele. And I'm like, I'm not sure you want to do that because I know what my standard is. The truth for me is that I don't have any stories or challenges in a mind in business when it comes to like my own personal narratives. I know what I want. I know what I'm good at. I'm not a micromanager.
Mhm.
And even though I had some issues with I recognized that there were some past experiences that led me to have some stories come up with them, but it wasn't them, it was my past experiences. And so I would just step into it and say, okay, I have a story that's being triggered here right now. I need you to know what it is. And it's not about you. Let's walk through it. I have
Mhm.
such a high level of awareness. And, you know, I told them when I hired them, I was like, look, I'm not hiring you to get in your way. Right. That's like, what would be the point of me
Right.
hiring you to get in your way? And again, that comes back to vision, right? I know where I'm going. I know what I want. I am crystal clear on it. There's no need for me to get in the way.
Mhm.
I'll let you go do your thing. I don't, so they'll come to me and they'll ask me questions sometimes, like, what do you think about this or this? And I'm like, I don't know. I think you're the deciding factor. If it works, it
Yeah.
works. I've told them from the beginning. I said there are two things that will become challenges. Number one, if we want to do something that questions my integrity, and you're going to be sure I'm going to tell you. Number two is if we run out of money, and then we'll just go find it.
Mhm.
Those are the two things. So okay, we're fine. And because of that, we've just been lockstep. Like it's crazy. It's insane.
Mhm. So, in this past year, I want to ask you this in a couple different parts. So, in the last year since rebranding and starting this venture, it's something you've done for a long time before. As I said, it seems like it's very different in just the vision that you have for it, but the practice of it is, based on a lot of experience that you've had. But in this time in this venture, what's the biggest lesson that you've learned about yourself as well as learning about women and the people that you're coaching? Is there anything specific, like longest levers, that maybe you've seen maybe it's refined in like the lessons that you've learned about people you're working with, or something that's maybe very different that you've realized even more powerful in this time?
That's a good question. Um, okay, so from a personal standpoint, I would say something that I refer to as the slingshot effect. The more we get pulled and the more we get challenged, the greater we have room to fly. When you think about a slingshot, that resistance of being pulled back and pulled back and pulled back and pulled back, and the more you pull, the more it's just gonna the higher you can go, right? So
Mhm.
for me, like that was something I learned in my own personal life, how true that is. Because I got pulled back hard last year, and I still don't quite yet see where I'm going. I know I can see it, but I know it's even bigger than I know. That's how big. So that's one thing. Insofar as the work with women, I think that the thing that probably has really been reinforced even more is how much we just all don't want to feel alone. We just don't want to feel alone. We don't want to feel like people don't get us, like we're isolated. That level of belonging and safety. And I've seen it happen in my communities. I've seen it happen in my communities. I've seen it happen in my live events. I've seen it happen across the board. The more that women have that space to be,
Mhm.
the more I watch things unfold and change. And I've always known that, but that definitely has been like reinforced to me over the last few weeks, a few months, I should say.
I love that you brought this up. This is something I've been fascinated with really over the last few months, is just that connection piece and not
Yeah,
realizing how isolated people feel and the challenges that they
totally.
have. And I think there's this big cultural shift, I think, that's maybe gradually built up over time, especially in the personal growth and development stage of
Right.
me against the world and nobody cares, work harder. It's like, fuck everybody
Yeah.
else. I'm going to put this whole backpack on my back and I don't need anybody else.
Right.
But
Right.
then I thought, I was like, well, if you think you're the only one that can get you to succeed, then when it comes time to be challenged, you think you're the only one that's dealing with these problems as well.
Totally.
Yeah.
100%. Yeah. I think we need to live life less in solitude in
Mhm.
general. It's one of the things that it's one of the things that I think that we have to recognize about ourselves as human beings is that belonging really is the third of our basic needs on Maslow's hierarchy of needs, and that feeling of togetherness and connection. And like I really strive to create that across the board in my life in so many different ways. It's funny because I'm recording this from Miami. I'm down here in Miami, and of course this is where we I lived down here for a period of time. And this week I've been back at the restaurant that I go to down here when we used to come down here, been there every single night. And, in the matter of the week, I've reconnected with the waitresses who used to serve us, connected more with the bartenders, to the point that when I was like saying goodbye yesterday, because I was supposed to be leaving tomorrow. I'm not leaving tomorrow now, by the way. But anyways, I was supposed to be leaving tomorrow. As we were saying goodbye, like I felt sad, right? Like everybody wants to have that connection, and I think that if you can cultivate connection around you, then you just you're never alone, and you just get to feel so much more safe, inspired.
Mhm.
Like everything just feels better, if that makes sense.
Yeah. I think so many of our challenges that we have can be solved by going for a walk, getting outside, or having a conversation for 8 minutes with a
A
friend.
100%. You know, it's funny because one of the things that I love that 8 minute conversation thing because I've been hearing this a lot lately as well. But one of the things for me is that like I've noticed over the last several months how much I'm laughing out loud. And like that laughter out loud, like last week, you know, I had my media team here last week and we were filming. And like, if you watched my Instagram stories last week, I'm sure you saw lots of images of me just like bellowing out laughing. And I'm like, excuse me, every single day I was just laughing out loud and like in the connection of human beings and it feels good. And it's like you come alive, right? We all need that.
Mhm. All right. So the mission of this, you said, is no woman left behind.
Yeah.
What does
Yeah.
that mean to you?
Yeah, that's a big one for me. It's actually the mantra of our entire company. And it's actually something that I told my team, like this can never change, and we have to always make everything available to other women. So for me, what it comes down to is when I was a single mom, I had no money. Like I had no money, no money, negative no money. And you know, I had people around me who supported me and people who helped me and people who, if it wasn't for them showing up for me in those days, I mean, like I couldn't tell if like I didn't have enough money to put food on the table and put gas in the car. Right. So when I say no money, I mean no money. Right. And so there's so many people who helped me during those years. And as I like grew from those years, I promised myself I was never going to forget that space. Right. And so for me, insofar as me being able to help women now, for me, it comes down to like, I don't want any woman to not have access to elite level coaching because we've moved into this industry now where like elite level coaching is only available to the people who can pay elite level prices,
Hmm.
but not every woman can pay $5,000, let alone $50,000 for coaching. And I am an elite level coach. And as an elite level coach, I want to make sure that every single woman has an opportunity to have access to that. So, for example, my Her-dentity community, it's $500 for the year. Like it's stupid cheap
Hmm.
for the entire year. People think I'm crazy that that's how much it costs for the entire year. I told my team, I'm like, you can drop the price, you can change the structure, but you can't increase the price ever. You can't increase the price. Like that's not going to happen
Hmm.
because I want every single woman to be able to access the level of coaching that I know that I can provide for them. And so we just shifted the format of this. I'm sorry, by the way, my throat is scratchy. We
No,
just
you're
shifted
good.
the format of this, but you know, my live events where we had them as a pay what you can, 25, 50, or $100. Because I didn't want any woman not to be able to access it. We had to shift it from a structural standpoint because of technology reasons, but it's gone up to like I think $50. Like it's not like I want women to be. Of course, there's higher level ticketed prices things, right? It's a business,
Sure.
but everybody is going to be able to access some level of coaching, regardless of socioeconomic status.
Hmm. I think this is such a powerful shift in coaching because I've, seen this forever too of like you need to charge this premium type spot because if you don't have any skin in the game, then people aren't going to do
Yeah,
it. Nobody takes that
right.
investment. And I've always had a kind of a love-hate relationship with that understanding. It's like obviously, everybody needs to earn a living. You need to
Right.
charge what you're worth from there as well, and whatever that actually means. But also, anytime I've ever had somebody that comes in and is really like interested in getting help with it,
Yeah,
if you show them that you care, they're doing the work for you and they want to,
totally.
they want to do the work for you regardless of the cost of it. So I remember I heard that that was the cost of the program from that, and I know the work that you do and the level of care that you put in. And I was like,
Hmm.
that's essentially free, of getting that
Yeah.
program in. So I
Oh,
just
yeah.
I think that's a shift that I'm seeing in a lot of the people that I admire in coaching, and I really like the way that it's going in that way.
Yeah. I think I mean, look, my private clients pay me a lot of money,
Yeah.
right? They pay me a lot of money to have 24-hour access to me, right? So that it is what it is, right? But I'm not, if you know me, you know I'm not about money, right?
Mhm.
Like, and people are like, well, then why do you charge so much for that? Because I'm like, well, because my time is money, right? If you're going to wake me up at 3 o'clock in the morning, there's a price tag to that, right?
Mhm.
So that is what it is. But for me, like, I can't do things driven from money. I
Mhm.
can't. Like, I just can't. It's like, if my team says to me, okay, you need to go sell 50 tickets to this event, you need to go promote, like I won't sell one of them. You tell me I have to find a way to get 50 women their butts in the seat to change their lives, I'm all over that.
Yeah. Mhm.
Right. And I think it's what's actually differentiating the coaches versus the people who wanted to make careers out of coaching right now in our industry, right? Our coaching industry, especially in the mindset personal development space, everybody's a fucking guru. Excuse me. I'm gonna just call it out like that. Everybody, this is my soapbox. Everybody's on a fucking like guru band kick right now. You went through one life experience and now you're teaching people mindset. And I'm gonna swear because it's you. It's absolute bullshit. It's absolute bullshit. What people don't understand, you don't become an expert because you went through something, right? And not only is that the case, but the other factor of that, it's actually dangerous, right?
Mhm.
The human matrix, the human mind, the human brain, unconscious mind, the brain, the body, it's so intricate and evolved. And I hear all of these gurus out there spewing this bullshit. I'm like, you just fucked that person up.
Yeah.
So like these are the people in the industry. There are coaches who started coaching to change lives. And then there were coaches who started coaching because someone told them they could make a $300 million business out of coaching. If you're in coaching for that reason, you need to get out of it. Get out of it. And what we're seeing right now in the industry is we're seeing the last man standing. It's been 15 years I've been in this industry online. And the people who are still standing, who are still kicking, who are still going, I'm telling you right now, is because they're the ones who are legit coaches.
Yeah.
They're the ones who are here to make a difference. And I call that shit out all the time. I think it's someone actually thought that the word that I used as deplorable was a little bit too intense a couple of months ago, but I actually think it is deplorable. I'm just going to say it. I think it's deplorable. Make
Well,
a
I think
living. Don't make a living off of other people's hearts.
you threw out a word earlier in here that I grabbed on, which I always think of as persona versus identity,
Mm.
And I think
Hmm.
when you said when we create an identity, it's really attached to the person that we are and who we want to become. There's much deeper piece from that. But so many people were creating a persona, what we should be, or the mask that we portray out there. And oh, this person, does this and they charge this, but you're given a
Yeah.
bullshit service because you just haven't gotten into that experience yet.
Right.
Like, and
Yeah.
the coaching world is still so weird because it's so wild, wild west. It's like
Totally.
anybody that can call themselves a coach or
100%.
a guru in there versus somebody with 25 years experience who's been doing this forever. They say the
Absolutely.
same thing, and the average person just sees, oh, coach versus coach. What's
Yeah.
going on
Yeah.
here? And they can't
100%.
identify.
Yeah. It's actually really funny because I was talking to a friend of mine who was, and people have this context of life coaches now, right? Life coaches have gotten a bad rap. Let's be honest, right? Because
Mhm.
you can get a $7 life coaching certification off of Facebook nowadays. So there's all of this cynicism and judgment and like uncertainty around coaches. And there should be. When I have a client come to me and say, like they're cynical about the process and there's all these coaches, I'm like, yeah, you should be. You absolutely should be. I'll prove to you why you don't have to be cynical or worried about me. But like I've been in it for 25 years, right? And it's one of those things like, you can't get on a soapbox unless you have the right to get on a soapbox. I can get on this soapbox because I've been doing it for 25 years. I have been consistently showing up for 25 years, mastering my art, mastering my practice. I've worked with countless human beings. I spend countless hours waking up, and I do not wake up and think about how to make money. I wake up and think about how to change my client's life. That's the simplicity of it, right? And so, and I think that we're going to see an even bigger shift in the industry until the next shift comes along. There's going to be another one. Like there's going to be another phase of this whole world. It
Mhm.
was personal trainers 20 years ago. Then it became mindset coaches. Who knows what's coming next? But the coaches who are meant to be coaching will be the last man standing, and those are the people you should trust.
I love it. Yeah. All right, I want to ask you about your prep because I know you're 4 weeks out right now, and
I
this is a big
am,
thing that's coming
yes.
up too. First, how you feeling with this? How's this one feeling for you?
I feel great. I mean, I love prep, right? I'm one of those crazies who loves prep. It's interesting because as I was saying earlier, I purposely aligned this prep. I mean, you and I have talked about this before as well from a lean versus growing phase. I purposely aligned this prep to time out to this TV show that I was recording because I wanted to feel like my best self, not just in my body, but in my mind. And I just tend to be more clear when I'm leaner. When I'm
Yeah.
leaner on less calories, I'm just more clear minded. So I feel great. I mean, 4 weeks out is always the push. But it's funny, like I just have, I don't, it's been so many years now, I don't process how I'm actually feeling. I
Mm.
just get up and do the work. Like, I don't like the truth is at this point, like I'm hungry, I'm starving, but I just turn it off. I have this mechanism to just shut it down. Like
Mhm.
I'm not focused on it, right? I have too many other things that I'm focused on in a day-to-day process.
Yeah. I know we've talked about this before
Yeah.
in connections. I've always felt when I'm in a lean phase or I'm in a deficit phase, I'm just more
Yeah.
sharp. I'm much more clear. And
Yeah.
I've been in more of a surplus phase, trying to, gain over the last kind of period of time. It's it's a rough
I hate
one,
it.
for me.
Yeah, I
Yeah.
hate it. I can't stand it.
Yeah.
I actually am the one. I always joke with my coach. She's like, "Okay, I'm going to cut your calories this week." I'm like, "Thank God,"
Yeah,
right? Because
right?
I hate eating a lot of food. I don't like stopping to eat. I like the only reason I started like macro counting 20 years ago was so I actually make sure I eat enough. And it's not because I have body image stories or any. I like to be on the go, and so
Mhm.
food kind of slows me down. Even now, I scarf my food down. Like I'm just. It's like,
Yeah.
how fast can I get this in my system so I can keep going? I'm just not a foodie, so.
I love it. I love it. Tell me about Legacy Makers. What is this video project about?
Yeah, I'm so excited about it. So I just shot it this week. Here in Miami, Legacy Makers. The founder, Rudy Maurer, he is the also the producer. He has a show called The 60 Day Hustle, and so essentially, Legacy Makers, it's a documentary type episode. So there'll be a 20-minute documentary featuring my whole story, my entire story of like why, where, who I am, why I'm doing what I'm doing, where I'm going, what's the legacy I'm trying to create, and what the path and the mission is. So it's really exciting. It was an amazing experience filming it here last week in Miami, and there's even some bigger stuff coming up. We're actually in the process of talking about like a 12 episode series for the Carrie Campbell experience.
That's amazing. Good. All right, so you're in Miami. What's the next step? Where are you going next?
I was supposed to be leaving Miami tomorrow, but I'm waiting on a very special meeting with a very special person down here. So I'm probably heading home more like Saturday. And interestingly enough, my daughter is going to kill me because she hasn't seen me in 2 weeks. I'm heading home on Saturday, probably until Wednesday. Then I'm actually heading up to Montreal to finish my prep up in Montreal, my last 3 weeks in Montreal. So I've really prioritized this year. I knew the first quarter was going to be a big build out of the business. I was going to be on the road a lot. We're making Montreal, Phoenix, and Miami our flagship locations for Her-dentity Live. So I'm in those locations a lot as we're cultivating the network and the community. So I knew I was going to be on the road a lot. The other thing for me is I thrive on the road and I actually maximize business on the road. So
Mhm.
I go away to get work done. So yeah, so up to Montreal for 3 weeks. Then we're competing in Dallas on April 19th. Then we're gearing up for hopefully a big ass launch party in the month of June, throwing the Carrie Campbell experience out to the world with a combined charity event for the Alice
I
Cooper
love it.
Teen Center.
I love it. Carrie Campbell, ladies and gentlemen. Carrie, seriously, every time I get to connect with you, I have a blast. I've learned so much from you over the years, but really from seeing the vision that you had of the rebranding that we talked about last time to now seeing it in action of doing work. It's like I've seen so many people have big ideas of things that they want to do, but when it actually comes to boots on the ground and putting it together, I just see you as an example every day of things that I'm trying to strive for, and I know you're doing that with so many other people. So again, so appreciate you taking the time and chatting again today.
Thank you so much. I always love being here. Keep you along for the journey. We'll see what's next.
No doubt. Yeah. So if people want to follow along, see everything that you're doing on a day by day, and then also the lives with the launch, what's the best place that they can go and check it out?
Yeah. So I hop over to our website, thecarriecampbellexperience.com. There's actually type your name and email address into the information. We have a 90, I keep saying we because we're such a collective. We have a 90-minute mindset mastery lesson available to you there. But all the information there is for Her-dentity tours there, Beyond the Breakthrough, which is our summit. It's going to be coming in the fall. Everything else is there. Or you can follow me over on Instagram, the Carrie Campbell _ experience, or on my Facebook page, which is also the Carrie Campbell experience. See that?
I love
Consistency
it.
across the board.
Beautiful. I love it. Carrie, love you to death. Thank you so much. Appreciate it. And till next time. Awesome.
Thank
Thank you
you.
so much, listeners. We'll catch you on the next one. Peace.